Okay, hello. So, I actually had a pretty crazy dream last night, and I don't have a lot of recall. I've been sort of grappling with the recall thing for the past few months, which is kind of frustrating because I identify a lot with the whole dream thing, as a lot of you might know about me. And so last night was kind of a gift. I slept for 12 hours. I came home with a migraine and some other sort of abdominal pain. I don't actually know what was going on. I feel a lot better this morning though. But yeah, so I had this pretty cool dream and it was lucid, which is amazing, like, in addition to the whole gift aspect. So I'll kind of start with where I remember it, but I know that there was a whole lot of story going on before that was lucid as well. I just can't remember. So the point at which I do start to remember is I'm in the street and it's a really public, crowded place, and I'm naked on purpose because I know, like, I'm lucid and I'm like, well, that's fine. Like, let's just take like one of those scary dream concepts and see what that feels like while inside of a lucid space. So yeah, I'm naked. It's not my body though. It's like some other body. It's like this kind of, everything is a little bit, it just feels a little looser. Like I'm bigger in other areas, and I'm just kind of like playing with my body. Like it's kind of a joke, and I'm just sort of standing on the sidewalk, you know, being like blah, 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 like whatever, and just sort of people are walking by and looking at me like, what's wrong with that person? But no one's really engaging with me. And then I see someone across the street, like directly across the street, and they're doing something kind of similar. There's a guy who's just kind of watching. There are a few spectators that have gathered that are sort of watching and kind of observing this like it's some kind of, like, I don't know, street art or something. And this man who's just standing there, he's just kind of got his arms crossed and he's just like bored looking. He looks at me and he just sort of rolls his eyes, and I'm like, well, hey, you know what? You can do anything you want here. And he's like, yeah, but you can tell who the amateurs are. And I could tell from just the way that he was standing. I don't know, I could just get I had this vibe that he was also lucid inside of this space. So I said to him, well, like, what do you suggest I do then? And he's like, have a conversation. So cut to the next sort of chapter of this, which is me I'm in an attic or the top floor of like a house or something like that. I don't know whose house, I don't recognize it. The lights are all off. There's there's some light coming in where I can see a little bit, but it's like a window probably, and it's nighttime. There's this like older man. He's kind of attractive, and he's come up to me and he's sort of like being really seductive and trying to like push the dream in a certain direction, and I can actually recognize that, yes, I understand this dream can be taken anywhere. I can turn this into anything I want. I can turn him into anything I want. I can turn myself into anything I want. We can go anywhere. We can go to space. But then part of me kind of understood, like, yeah, those are all really fun, but they're kind of distractions at the same time. So I mean, get them out of your system. Do it if you need to, but how is it serving you, if not just to sort of distract you from the lessons that can be offered inside of this scene? So I kind of took the advice of the dream character, and I went up to the man who was being all, I don't really know how to explain it. It was his energy, but I went up to him and I was like, hey, like, let's have a conversation. Can we have a conversation? And he was just like, And then I don't know what we talked about. I can't really remember. But it got to a point where it kind of felt like, yeah, it kind of started to feel really ordinary. Sort of like I'm communicating with just some stranger that I met, who I'm not particularly interested in, but I'm just sort of listening anyways, and he's not particularly interested in me, and we both just kind of like felt like bored strangers who are for some reason forcing ourselves to communicate with each other. And then I kind of started to feel the temptation inside of that to believe that this is some kind of that this is real, that this is no dream, this is real life, and just come back into the dream of real life. And so I was like, no, we're not gonna be bored here. Hey, I have a question for you. Do you remember your dreams at all? And he got a little weird by that. That was like a question that didn't really sit well with him for some reason, and he just sort of got extreme. He went down into a ball, like he tucked into himself like this. He was like, "Wah!" And then he bolted up, and like in a beam of light just shot out of the window, and he's now gone, and the window's broken, and the window is now making this like intense wind sound where it's like the whole time. So I'm just kind of standing there like, wow, that's really intense. And I'm very grounded in the knowing that I'm lucid as well, which is pretty cool. So I'm just sort of standing really firmly and just waiting to see what happens next, and just standing inside of this intense like wind tunnel. And eventually he comes back, and he's intense. He's like, he comes in like just this blast of like, and he's just a face at this point, so the rest of his body is now disintegrated, but he's just black and white, sort of high contrasted face, who's just like really scary, and he's screaming. And so he comes in, he's this face who's like ripping around the room, and there's like a trail of like sneered hymness behind him, and so it kind of goes around the room like this, and he's trying to scare me. I can see his intention is to scare me. He's sort of going up and around and all of that, and yeah, it kind of feels like the development of a nightmare. And so I'm feeling I'm feeling that, but I'm also not really fazed by it at the same time, which is really awesome. I feel like I got like some kind of upgrade in the lucidity realm of things. So eventually he's like, oh, this isn't scaring you? Like, what if I come right up in your face? And then came into my face and sort of like was like screaming, and just like, ah! And I'm just sort of like, and then I realized that I'm stonewalling him. I'm stonewalling him to protect myself. So instead of stonewalling him and looking at him like, are you done yet? I was like, oh, okay, so you're an aspect of myself, and you're screaming because you're hurting and you're afraid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just have compassion for you. And so I just looked at him with compassion, and I felt his fear, and I felt his pain, and I just really felt him. And there wasn't really a body for me to hug, but I was sending a hug to him, and I was sending love to him. And yeah, that really converted things. It was just, eventually the screaming stopped, and the wind sound stopped, and everything just kind of dissipated. But it's not like I won. I didn't win that. We didn't win that, him and I. We are not finished. That's just the beginning of our conversation. But what happened is color. I started seeing lots of color. Light, color, green, yellow, blue, purple, orange, and just, I'm going through a tunnel now, and I'm just like, whoosh, and I was just like, no. But it was too late. So I'm at this place now. So my eyes are closed, and I see red. All I see is red, okay? So I saw all this color, and I've reached this point where I'm now seeing red, and I'm like, okay, I'm staring through my eyelids right now. I get it. I'm not gonna open my eyelids. I'm actually just gonna go back into the tunnel of color. So I started looking for color. Like, what does purple look like? What does green look like? Yellow, blue. And I was just like, whoosh, and I came back. But it wasn't the same dream anymore, but I still had a level of awareness, which was pretty cool. So I found myself in the basement of my old house, like a childhood house, and I'm in the basement, and there's some sort of art show being put on, and like people are running around and putting things together, and I'm just really excited to be here. I'm like, oh my god, I haven't been here in so long, and I realize my parents own the place still. My sister's been visiting here, and they've all been coming here without me knowing. But I'm not offended by any of that. I'm just like, oh my god, so excited to just at least be able to come here. So that's pretty awesome. And then I see my Aunt Vesna, who I haven't seen in a really long time. She's conducting the art show. So I go up to her, and I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, we're putting on a show, and you know, we've got to sell all the pieces by the end of the night, and it's gonna be we've got to make $3,600 and then we got to get out of here. And I was like, what? Like, don't you just want to show the pieces for a while and then, like, why do you have to sell them right away? And it felt like she was doing it for profit, and that didn't really feel okay. So I didn't even know who the artist was at this point, but then I turned around to see what she was looking at, and it was all my pieces. They were all, like, all the things that I've made so far, and I saw them all on the wall, and I was like, $3,600? Like, I didn't understand the price. I didn't understand any of that. I was just like, no, like, we need a contract. Like, there needs to be something in writing. We should have a verbal agreement of some kind. She's like, this is too late. Like, the show is on. You can't stop it now. So at this point, I'm not really lucid anymore. I'm totally wrapped up in the game of the dream. So I'm like, I don't think so. And then I turn around and I grab onto my heart collage and I just like grab it in my hands like this. I'm like, no. And then I like run outside, down the driveway, and then I jump into like a cargo van and like throw my collage in there with me, and then we just drive away. And then there's a plan to like go get the others, but I mean, for now I have my heart and that's all that I need right now. So it's kind of great. Anyway, so that's the end of my dream. I just tried to keep it kind of short. But yeah, I'm really excited to at least have some of the dream recall back, and the dreams have been asking me to give them a bigger voice than just text, and so I was tempted to just share this the dream via like text on Facebook or something, but yeah, I want to bring them more to life. I think they're more fun, and they're more fun that way when I get to tell them as like an actual story, and maybe that will promote and encourage them to come to the surface a little bit more, and I'll have more stories to share. So anyways, that's that, and I really thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you again sometime soon.